So, the main lesson that I want to talk about today is the importance of studying in different locations. What I found was that if I study for too long at home, I end up being pretty exhausted. And then I'm not able to study for some period of time. Instead, it's a lot more intelligent and laudable to study in multiple locations. So, for example, I could study at the nearby kosher Dunkin' Donuts or the nearby college, and then after a couple hours there, I could come back home and continue to study there. So when you study in multiple locations, you end up being able to manage for longer periods of time. So that's one study hack that I'm talking about today. But in general, I'm going to be looking into different kinds of study hacks and different kinds of memorization techniques, because something that medical students have to go through is that they have to go through a lot of memorization of different medical terms. So today, I ended up spending a little bit of time on vocabulary and some time on reviewing algebra. It just happens to be that my focus right now is to pass the PAX-RN, which is pre-admissions examinations for registered nurses. So that's why, I'm going to be focusing on just doing well on this exam. And that's going to be something like 1 to 2 or 3 hours a day of just studying. It's a little bit harder for me because I also have a job at the same time. And I've got some dental issues that I have to take care of. And I also am making money with online business stuff. So it's a little bit trickier for me to find the time to study, but I do want to make this into a priority because it has become very clear to me that I need a very stable, secure, bulletproof income stream coming in. And nursing is that very secure, bulletproof income stream. In contrast, when you're dealing with online business stuff, it's pretty volatile. In other words, sometimes you can make a lot, but sometimes you can make nothing. And that's not something that you want to depend on for the next 30, 40 years of your life. Because if you are in your late 20s or early 30s, you're going to be working for the next 30 years or so. So do you really want to be in a stage in your life where you don't know if you're going to get enough money to cover rent and car insurance for that month? Absolutely not. So you want a really stable, bulletproof income stream, and that comes from having a traditional career. And then you have leftover time. By all means, pursue passion projects, pursue financial side hustles and business projects, because you have the financial capital. And if you lose $1,000, it will mean nothing to you. So that's the story as to why I'm becoming an RN. It's going to take a lot of research right now in terms of finding out some of the best programs. And it's going to take a lot of studying to pass the exam and be in the best possible position in order for me to be accepted into a program. Now, this would also mean that I would have to quit my job at some point, probably next year. And, I'm a little disappointed about that I have to quit my job. So that's not, it's not super exciting to quit my job, because I kind of feel like the school that I'm working in, they kind of depend on me, and for me to just abandon them makes me feel guilty. But on the other hand, the position that I'm working in right now is a dead-end position, just because it doesn't have medical insurance. And $2,000 a month is not enough to survive in New York City. It's just your head above the water kind of survival. And that's not how I envision my life for the next 30 years. So the bottom line is that I am going into something that pays a lot more, and that is becoming an RN. So here I am, I'm in a place where I have to study like crazy. I have to put in several hours a day, ideally, to studying for these exams. And I think that I'm pretty sure I could do it just because I'm the kind of person that enjoys studying. I enjoy academic mastery of subjects. Now I'm just going to end off with one more tip. Something about vocabulary is it's good to study vocabulary, but it shouldn't be your primary focus in preparation for the exam. And the reason why is because there's absolutely no end to vocabulary. I mean, there's probably like 20,000 words that you could spend years learning what they are. So you want to learn some basic words, you want to do some basic preparation in terms of vocabulary, but at some point you need to say, well, I don't have a couple of years to learn every single vocabulary word that there ever was. I just have a little bit of time I need to prep for the exam. So if I had to guess the one section in the exam that I probably wouldn't score 100% on, it's vocabulary, because that one is the hardest to prepare for, because there's literally thousands of words out there, and it would take potentially years to know every single word. So I'm not confident that I can get 100% on the vocabulary, but I just want to know enough words so I can do decent, and I will compensate by mastering the other subjects such as algebra, geometry, and all the other stuff that's going to be on the exam. So just wanted to give you guys a quick update on my journey, and I'm really looking forward to getting some more studying this week and looking into different programs. So for the program that I've looked into, and I know I have to apply to multiple programs, and I already have to think about how I'm going to get my prerequisites, but the program that I could look into, or was looking into, is Hunter's College, because over here it was a little bit less than $4,000 a month. So if I just take 3 semesters, that's $16,000, which is not bad. Alternatively, there's also, I could take prerequisites, and that would boost me, that would take another $4,000. So we're looking at something along the lines of, roughly speaking, 20 to 25 grand for me to pay out for everything. And it's also going to take around 1 or 2 years. And it might take a little bit longer than 1 or 2 years, because some prerequisites I can't actually take at the same time. So there's just some complications as to why it could take longer. And certain programs only start at certain times of the year. So all of these are reasons why it could take, unfortunately, much longer than I would have liked, because I would have really liked to just, hit the pedal to the metal and become an RN much faster than, I don't want this to take 3 or 4 years. I just want to put in the time and become an RN faster and sooner rather than later. But it looks like with programs starting at different timetables, and how I haven't done the prerequisites, and how I can't do certain prerequisites at the same time, so I can't knock out the prerequisite classes all at the same time, just looks like it's going to take longer than I would have liked, so I will look into the timing, but I think, the fact that it would take longer than I would have liked also buys me time to get certain parts of my life together, such as completely organizing my room and throwing out like a lot of junk that I have, so I can live a minimalist lifestyle, which will force me to pay attention to what matters the most, which is the degree. So it's less time than I would have liked, but at least, sorry, I meant to say it looks like it could take more time than I would have liked, but at least that would buy me time to get certain parts of my life in order.